Hello and welcome to our podcast. Today we are diving into a story from shared roots to divided paths, the Russia-Ukraine war and India's diplomatic strategy. We'll walk through the shared history of these two nations, unpack the layers of what led to this full-blown war, and explore India's diplomatic balancing act in this turbulent scenario. So sit back and listen as we untangle the threads of history, geopolitics, and India's strategic vision. Our story begins in the 7th century with the emergence of a very powerful medieval state known as Kievan Rus. This federation of Slavic tribes centered around modern-day Kiev. It is considered the cultural and spiritual cradle of both Russia and Ukraine. By the 10th century, Kievan Rus had adopted Eastern Orthodox Christianity, a faith that continues to define much of the region's identity even today. But this shared beginning eventually took different paths. Over centuries, while Russia grew into a centralized empire under the Tsars, Ukraine became a fragmented land, caught between powerful neighbors like Poland, Lithuania, and Russia. In 1793, much of Ukraine was absorbed into the Russian Empire and the idea of an independent Ukraine was suppressed. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the tides of history shifted again. After the chaos of World War I, Ukraine briefly declared independence, but this was short-lived. By the 1920s, Ukraine became part of the newly formed Soviet Union, where it remained for nearly 70 years. Under the Soviet rule, Ukraine was both an asset and a victim. It became the breadbasket of the USSR, but also endured unspeakable tragedies like the Holodomor, a man-made famine in the 1930s which killed millions. This period left deep scars in Ukraine's psyche, creating a sense of resentment towards Russian dominance. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Ukraine finally became an independent nation. For Russia, this was not just the loss of a territory, it was the loss of historical pride and influence. Ukraine, with its vast resources and strategic location, was more than just another former Soviet republic. It was central to Russia's identity and security framework. Over the next few decades, Ukraine sought to carve out its own path. It looked westward, building ties with the European Union and expressing interest in joining NATO, the military alliance led by the United States. For Russia, this was unacceptable. Ukraine joining NATO would mean NATO forces right at Russia's border, a direct challenge to its security and influence. Tensions erupted in 2014 when Ukraine's pro-Russian president Viktor Yanukovych was ousted after protests against his decision to abandon an European Union trade deal. Russia saw this as a Western-backed coup. In response, Russia annexed Crimea, a peninsula in southern Ukraine, claiming it was protecting ethnic Russians there. Simultaneously, a conflict broke out in eastern Ukraine's Donbas region, where pro-Russian separatists backed by Moscow began fighting the Ukrainian government. Over the next 8 years, this conflict simmered, claiming thousands of lives. The world was shocked on February 24, 2022, when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin justified this as a special military operation to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. But the real motives were very clear: to prevent Ukraine from joining NATO, to reassert Russian dominance over its former Soviet territories, and to protect what Russia sees as its sphere of influence. Ukraine, on the other hand, had a simple goal: survival. Its president, Zelensky, became a symbol of resistance, rallying his nation and appealing to the West for support. The world watched as Ukraine fought back with courage, turning what was expected to be a quick Russian victory into a prolonged and brutal war. The conflict has sent shockwaves across the globe. Russia, a major oil and gas supplier, faced sanctions leading to skyrocketing energy prices worldwide. Ukraine, a top exporter of wheat and sunflower oil, saw its supply chains disrupted, worsening global hunger. Countries are rethinking alliances, with Europe seeking alternatives to Russian energy and the US reaffirming its role as a global leader. Now, let's shift our focus to India. In this crisis, India has followed a policy of strategic autonomy. It has refused to take sides, choosing instead to prioritize its national interests. Why has India taken this stance? Russia has been a reliable partner, especially in defense, supplying nearly 70% of India's military equipment. With rising oil prices, India has purchased discounted Russian oil to cushion its economy. While maintaining ties with Russia, India has also deepened its partnership with the US and Europe. India has consistently called for dialogue and peace, abstaining from UN resolutions condemning Russia while emphasizing the need to respect sovereignty and territorial integrity. India's stance reflects its unique position in the world. As an emerging global power, India must balance competing interests without alienating key partners. This crisis highlights India's ability to navigate a very complex geopolitical landscape, safeguarding its interests while advocating for peaceful resolutions. For civil service aspirants, this is a masterclass in realpolitik. It shows the importance of pragmatism, diplomacy, and strategic thinking in shaping a nation's foreign policy. So, what's next? The Russia-Ukraine war shows no sign of ending soon. The global order is shifting, and India must remain vigilant and flexible. The ability to balance relationships, respond to crisis, and uphold its values will define India's role on the world stage. This war is a reminder of how history shapes the present and how nations must navigate the turbulent waters of geopolitics. For India, the lesson is clear. In an uncertain world, strategic autonomy and a focus on national interests are the key to securing its future. Thank you for listening. We hope this podcast has helped you understand the complexities of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and India's role in it. Stay tuned for more episodes that unravel the stories behind such global events.